That 5-cent Jefferson nickel has passed through millions of hands. Yet only a few carry subtle differences collectors hunt like treasure. One tiny detail, one rare variation, and this ordinary coin could be worth hundreds, even thousands. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that most people have seen countless times without ever suspecting that certain examples could be worth an extraordinary amount of money. Minted during a period of massive coin production in the United States, the 1964 Jefferson 5-cent coin was created to meet intense public demand, which resulted in billions of nickels entering circulation. To the average person, this coin appears ordinary, showing Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the reverse. Yet hidden among these common coins are rare error examples that completely change their story and their value. A normal 1964 D Jefferson nickel, without any minting errors, is extremely common. In circulated condition, it is usually worth only its face value of 5 cents. Even uncirculated examples, if they show no unusual characteristics, generally sell for just a few dollars. Because so many were produced, collectors have easy access to standard versions of this coin, and demand remains low for non-error examples. These regular nickels fill albums but rarely excite serious collectors. Everything changes when an authentic mint error is discovered. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and in 1964, the sheer volume of production increased the chances of mistakes slipping through. One of the most desirable errors found on the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is the doubled die, where parts of the design appear doubled due to a misaligned impression during die creation. On these nickels, doubling can often be seen on Jefferson's eye, nose, profile, or the lettering on the obverse. The value difference between a normal coin and a double die example is dramatic. A standard 1964 D nickel might sit unnoticed in a drawer, but a double die version can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Lightly circulated examples have sold in the range of $300 to $800, while uncirculated double die nickels have reached several $1,000s at auction. The clearer and stronger the doubling, the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. In extremely rare situations, top-quality double-die 1964 D nickels have achieved staggering results. When a coin shows sharp doubling, excellent strike quality, original luster, and minimal marks, competitive bidding can drive prices far beyond expectations. In premium auctions featuring certified examples in near-perfect condition, values can climb into astonishing territory. Exceptional specimens have reached prices between $69,560 and $159,870, particularly when two or more high-end collectors compete for one of the finest known examples. Another highly collectible error associated with the 1964 D Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. This happens when the planchet is not properly aligned during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. Off-center errors vary widely in value. Minor off-center strikes may sell for $20 to $50, but dramatic examples showing a significant portion of the blank planchet while still displaying a readable date can bring $200, $500, or even more in strong collector markets. Clipped planchet errors are also found on some 1964 D nickels. These occur when a portion of the metal blank is improperly cut before striking, leaving a curved or straight missing section on the coin. While not as visually striking as double dies, clipped planchet nickels are still popular among error collectors. Depending on the size and clarity of the clip, these coins often sell between $25 and $100, with higher prices for uncirculated examples. Another fascinating error is the rotated die error, where the reverse of the coin is misaligned in relation to the obverse. When the coin is flipped vertically and the reverse appears at an unusual angle, collectors take notice. Minor rotations may add modest value, but extreme rotations of 90 degrees or more can push prices into the $100 to $300 range, especially if the coin is well preserved. Some 1964 D Jefferson nickels were struck on defective or improperly prepared planchets. These errors can result in uneven surfaces, unusual textures, or weakly struck areas. While subtle defects may only add minimal value, dramatic planchet flaws can sell for $50 to $200, depending on how noticeable and unusual they are. When comparing all these error coins to standard 1964 D nickels, the contrast is striking. A regular coin is common, easily replaced, and worth very little. An error coin, on the other hand, represents a moment when the minting process failed, creating something unique. That uniqueness is what drives collector demand and auction prices. Auction history shows just how far values can rise when rarity meets condition. Certified double-die nickels in high grades have repeatedly attracted intense bidding. In some notable auctions, pristine examples have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, and in rare, high-profile sales, prices have surged into the $69,560 to $159,870 range. These outcomes are fueled by scarcity, strong collector interest, and the desire to own one of the finest known error coins from this prolific year. Condition remains the most critical factor in determining value. Two coins with the same error can differ enormously in price based on wear, surface quality, and eye appeal. Coins that have been professionally graded and authenticated tend to achieve the highest prices, as collectors trust third-party certification when investing large sums of money. For anyone who owns 1964 D Jefferson nickels, careful inspection can be rewarding. Using magnification to examine Jefferson's profile, the lettering, and the alignment of the design can reveal errors that are easy to miss at first glance. While most coins will be ordinary, the possibility of finding a rare error keeps collectors searching through rolls and collections even today. The 1964 D Jefferson nickel proves that even one of the most common U.S. coins can hide extraordinary value. With the right error, strong condition, and proper authentication, a simple 5-cent coin can transform into a piece of numismatic history worth more than many luxury items. What looks ordinary at first glance can, under the right circumstances, become truly remarkable. The 1971 D Monticello Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that most people never give a second thought to. It was minted in large numbers and spent decades in everyday circulation, passing through countless hands without notice. To the average person, it's just a small nickel with Thomas Jefferson on the front and Monticello on the back. Something you might find in loose change at the grocery store or forgotten in a drawer. For most of these coins, that is exactly what they are worth. Face value, or perhaps $1 or $2 in uncirculated condition. Without any special qualities, a 1971 D Jefferson nickel is common and inexpensive, and most collectors don't pay much attention to the ordinary examples. But every so often, a small percentage of these coins were struck with dramatic errors, and those mistakes have transformed them from everyday pocket change into highly prized collector rarities. Among the rarest and most desirable of these is a dramatic double-die error, where the design elements appear clearly doubled on both the obverse and reverse. On authentic examples, you can see the doubling most noticeably on Jefferson's portrait, the date, and even on the lettering around Monticello. These error coins are incredibly rare, and that rarity is exactly what gives them extraordinary value. When comparing a standard 1971 D Jefferson nickel to one of these rare errors, the contrast could not be more stark. A regular 1971 D nickel without any error might sell for only 5 cents to a couple of dollars in uncirculated condition. These coins were produced in the millions, and because they are so common, their value remains very low. Even in brilliant, uncirculated grade without any unusual features, they are considered everyday change. Collectors might pick them up to fill out a basic set, but most people don't see them as investments. Now imagine finding a 1971 D nickel that doesn't look quite right. At first glance, it might still seem like an ordinary coin, but once you inspect it under magnification, a strange doubling becomes instantly obvious. The date might appear thicker in certain areas, letters in the word Liberty might show shadow-like duplicates, and parts of Monticello's columns might look doubled and uneven. This kind of doubling is far beyond what you would see from normal wear or die deterioration. It's a true double die error, and it completely changes the coin's worth. Even in circulated condition, a 1971 D double die Jefferson nickel can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars when offered in the right markets. Collectors prize these errors because they are both visually striking and extremely rare. Most error coins sell for more money than you expect for the denomination, and in this case, circulated examples have fetched strong prices at shows and auctions alike, often in the range of $1,500 to $3,500 or more, depending on how dramatic and clear the doubling appears. Condition matters a great deal. An error coin that still retains much of its original mint luster and shows sharp, clear doubling is far more desirable than one that has heavy wear. That difference in condition can mean a difference of thousands of dollars in final sales prices. And when an example is found that stands out as one of the best known, a coin with beautiful surfaces, strong strikes, and bold doubling, that's when the real excitement begins. In the world of numismatics, only a handful of these exceptionally rare 1971D double die error nickels are known, and when one appears at a major auction, collectors from around the world take notice. In some truly extraordinary cases, the rarest and most flawless examples of this error have drawn intense bidding, with final prices reaching into the five-figure range. Top-tier coins have brought prices as high as $62,600, and in truly remarkable auctions, even up to an incredible $150,780 or more, when competition is fierce and collectors recognize the rarity and beauty of the piece. It's worth noting that not all error coins are created equal. There are also off-center strikes, where the coin was misaligned during striking and part of the design is missing. These can be visually interesting and collectible, but they usually don't command nearly as high a premium as a true double die. An off-center 1971D nickel might sell for anywhere from $20 to a few $100s, depending on how far off-center the strike is and how much of the design is affected. Clipped planchets are another type of error seen on 1971D nickels. This occurs when the planchet, the blank metal disc, was improperly cut, creating a coin with a curved or straight missing section. These coins are unusual and often sell for modest premiums, typically in the $30 to $75 range for eye-catching examples in nice condition. There are other minor variety errors as well, such as doubled letters or repunched mint marks, but these tend to be more subtle and less valuable than the dramatic double dies. Still, collectors find value in these pieces because they represent a deviation from the standard, everyday coins. A doubled mint mark on a 1971D might bring $15 to $50 or more, depending on visibility and condition. What makes the rare double die examples so special is how immediately noticeable and distinct they are. When you compare an error coin to a normal 1971D nickel side by side, the difference is dramatic. The ordinary coin has clean, crisp letters and design elements that are exactly where they should be. On the error coin, the letters might appear to have shadows, the date looks uneven, and parts of the design seem doubled in a way that normal ware could never produce. For collectors who specialize in error coins, this kind of dramatic mistake is a treasure, a clear sign of a momentary mishap at the mint that created something unique. This rarity is reflected in auction results. Standard 1971D nickels go for pocket change at most sales, while error coins draw far more attention. The most dramatic double die examples are often certified by professional grading services, with high grades and clear documentation of the error. These certification services help buyers feel confident in what they are purchasing, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for certified rare pieces. That certification has played a role in pushing some of these error coins into the $62,600 to $150,780 range during auctions where competition was intense and bidders recognized the coin's value. For everyday coin hunters who enjoy looking through pocket change, the 1971D Jefferson nickel error coins represent the kind of exciting possibility that keeps people searching. While most nickels will turn out to be ordinary and worth very little beyond face value, the chance, however small, of finding a rare, high-value error is the dream that motivates many collectors and hobbyists. At first glance, the 1971D nickel may seem like a coin that's barely worth a second thought. But when you understand its rarer varieties, especially the dramatic double die, you begin to see why collectors around the world continue to search for these elusive pieces. What begins as everyday pocket change can, in the right circumstances, become a remarkable and highly valuable treasure, and that's what makes coins like the 1971D Monticello Jefferson nickel truly fascinating. Most people see a nickel and barely give it a second thought. 5 cents, barely worth pocket lint. But in the world of coin collecting, some nickels are far more fascinating than face value suggests. Among these, the 1977D Jefferson nickel featuring the Monticello design holds a special place for collectors who chase rare and valuable errors. While the vast majority of these coins are common 5-cent pieces, a very small fraction have unique minting mistakes that transform them from everyday change into treasures that can sell for astounding prices. When you look at a standard 1977D Jefferson nickel without any errors, it's a completely ordinary coin. Struck in Denver, it shows President Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his beloved Virginia home, on the reverse. These coins circulated widely and are still plentiful today. In circulated condition, a typical 1977 D nickel is worth just its face value, 5 cents. Even in uncirculated condition, a clean example might only bring a few dollars, perhaps $2 to $5 for a collector who just wants a perfect specimen. Because there are millions of these coins in existence, ordinary ones are not rare and do not command high prices. But then there are the error coins, the ones that didn't come out quite the way the mint intended. Collectors prize these mistakes because they are rare, visually interesting, and they tell a story about what went wrong in the production process. One of the most dramatic errors found on the 1977 D Jefferson nickel is known as a double die obverse or reverse, where part of the design appears doubled because the die that struck the coin was misaligned or impressed more than once. When the doubling is dramatic and easy to see with the naked eye, these coins immediately jump into collectible territory. The difference in value between a normal 1977 D nickel and one with a major error is staggering. An ordinary nickel might languish in pocket change, overlooked and undervalued, while an error coin, especially one with dramatic doubling, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. In circulated condition, error nickels can bring several $100s at coin shows or online auctions. Collectors are willing to pay a premium simply because of how rare these mistakes are and how striking they look when properly presented. As condition improves, so does the value. Uncirculated error coins that show bold doubling and strong eye appeal attract real competition among collectors. At auctions where collectors go head-to-head bidding, certified examples in high grades sometimes reach truly remarkable prices. For the best of the best, those with dramatic errors and superb condition, auction records show sales ranging from about $55,350 to as high as $138,505. Prices in this range aren't random. They reflect the excitement and rarity of coins that have both an extraordinary error and a top-tier grade from professional coin grading services. These are the pieces that serious collectors dream about, and when they come up for sale, the bidding can become very intense. Other types of errors can also be found on the 1977 D Jefferson nickel, though none reach quite the heights of the dramatic double die examples. One such variety is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank nickel planchet wasn't properly aligned in the coining press, resulting in part of the design missing or shifted to one side. Depending on how much of the design is missing and how clearly the date shows, off-center nickels can range from modest values to significant ones. A slight off-center error might be worth $20 to $50, while more severe off-center strikes with strong visual impact can command $100 or more. Another collectible error is the clipped planchet, where a piece of the coin's edge appears as if it has been sliced off. These happen when planchets are cut from the metal strip imperfectly. Clipped planchet nickels can be attractive, and values often range from $15 to $100 or more depending on size and placement of the clip. These are not as valuable as dramatic double dies, but they still offer an interesting way for collectors to build a varied and intriguing collection. Die cracks also appear occasionally on 1977 D nickels. These are raised lines on the surface of the coin that indicate the die from which the coin was struck had begun to crack. Coins with substantial die cracks catch interest, though they usually don't command the same premiums as double dies. Die crack error nickels might be worth $10 to $50 or more, especially if the cracks are unusual or visually distinct. One of the more unusual error types is a broad strike, where the coin was struck without being properly constrained in the press. The result is a nickel that is slightly larger and thinner than normal, with a stretched design. Broad strike nickels are uncommon and can be quite desirable, often fetching between $50 and several $100s based on the severity of the broad strike and overall condition. Comparing these error values to the normal coin really highlights how far the worth can diverge. A standard 1977 D Jefferson nickel, even in excellent, uncirculated condition, may only fetch a few dollars. In contrast, a dramatic error coin can bring thousands, and in rare, high-grade examples, tens of thousands or more. That difference is what drives interest and enthusiasm among collectors. Where a regular nickel slowly circulates from pocket to pocket, an error nickel becomes a centerpiece of an entire collection. Condition matters more than almost anything else when it comes to value. A dramatic error on a worn, scratched nickel won't command nearly as much as the same error on a clean, freshly preserved piece. That's why many of the most valuable 1977 D-era nickels are professionally graded by services like PCGS and NGC. A high grade not only confirms the authenticity of the error but also gives buyers confidence in the coin's overall condition, which directly enhances its value, sometimes dramatically. Auction results show just how much demand there is for the rarest of these coins. When a truly exceptional 1977 D nickel with a standout error and a superb condition grade goes up for bid, the competition can push prices into the range of $55,350 to $138,505. Those figures reflect how passionate collectors are willing to pay for rare mint mistakes, especially when the examples are well preserved and certified. It's not just about owning a mistake. It's about owning a piece of history that few others possess, so the next time you find a 1977 D Jefferson nickel in your pocket or change drawer, take a closer look. Most will turn out to be ordinary as expected, but every now and then, you might uncover a rare error with the potential to be worth far more than 5 cents. In the world of coin collecting, even the smallest coins can yield the biggest surprises, and sometimes the biggest values.